Well, let's talk about what compliance is, why it's important for a business. First, there's legal protections. The government passes rules and regulations, and they expect you to follow them. If you don't, there are consequences. If you have a breach and you weren't compliant, you didn't follow the rules and regulations, you didn't protect that personal identity information of your staff, of your customers, the government's coming after you. The fines are enormous. And it's hard to run your business when you're constantly in court, too. Um, the legal costs are prohibitive. And then there's reputation management. Why that's also so important. You know, your reputation is pretty important. People want to do business with business they can trust, and they're trusting you with a lot of their information, your credit card, their bank account, addresses. Um, whatever business you're in, you've got that same information also on your vendors. And then there's your operational efficiency. You know, compliance is winning for a reason. Part of compliance is having policies written. They call it a WISP, written information security plan. Every business is required to have a WISP. I mean, I don't know a business in the United States that doesn't have some compliance that they need to comply with. It's easy to hire new people and teach them to do their job because you have policies in place to make sure they are compliant. Um, the policies tell you how you process credit cards, how you store confidential information. It just makes things easier and faster and more reliable. Try to franchise your business, have a standard. And then there's risk management. It makes a lot of sense to spend $100 to prevent 30,000 or 50,000 or $100,000 worth of potential risk. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to spend $1,000 to prevent a $10 risk. So it's all about risk management. And let's talk about risk management. A lot of people don't realize what the risk is to their business if they don't protect their client data. The government, we've run security scans on people and found out because they had credit card information readily available to anybody, member of their staff could steal it. If they had a breach and the forensics investigator arrives and they find all that data, for every record they find that wasn't protected, it could be a $10,000 fine. Well, if you had 30,000 credit cards you weren't protecting and you had a $10,000 fine for each one of those records, that adds up real quick. I guess I should say it this way. The courts have ruled that you, the owner of the business, you own the risk. Let's find ways to reduce it, and that's our job. Offload that risk to us. We'll show you how to do that. You know, part of compliance and following compliance is the trust that your customers have with you. Let's think about this. If you're a store, they come in, they're swiping their credit card or their debit card, and if you're not protecting that data, you put their banking information out there. Now they are getting credit card fraud. They're getting their identity stolen. Let's talk if you could be a country club or a health gym, and you probably have a whole lot more information. You have the addresses of your members. You have their birthdays, their anniversaries. You probably even have their children's addresses. If you automatically charge them each month, you've got their credit card or their bank account to auto debit, ACH. Customers are trusting you with a lot. If you violate that trust, you think they're going to remain your customer? The history and the evidence shows that they won't. Businesses that have suffered a catastrophic breach, they find their customers leave them. Compliance, it's critical that you take it seriously. Reduce your risk. Save your reputation. Save your business. Protect your customers. Protect your vendors. Again, it's not an option. It's a regulation. And if you suffer a breach, when you suffer a breach, you want to make sure that you're not only compliant then, because compliance isn't a one-time thing, it's an all-the-time thing. It's not just you're compliant on January the 1st, you don't have to worry about it again until next January. When you're got to be compliant, you have to do it on a monthly basis. You have to have documentation to prove it. When the forensics investigators arrive, you're going to have to be proving you're patching every month. You're going to have to prove that you had a security awareness training for all of your staff and everybody you hired during the year, and they all signed off. You're going to have to prove that you have written policies in place for how you protect that data, how you perform your business, how your clients are supposed to protect your customers' data. And you have to prove that they're using them. You can't just put these policies together, put them in a book and stick them in a desk drawer until next year, pull them out and dust them off. You're going to have to prove that your people were observing them and following them. You've just handed the government the evidence they need to prosecute you if you're not compliant. My grandfather used to say, failure to plan is planning for failure. Well, you better plan for compliance because failure to plan for compliance is planning for failure and it will come back and bite you.